All right, do we want to jump into that first? We've all read the Rolling Stone article from about a week ago talking about Amazon Music's play to get into the podcast world a little bit. Kind of interesting stuff, and I know we all have thoughts. We ready for this?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ready. So I guess just for context, it's the article's called "Music Isn't Enough for Streaming Services Anymore." So Nate, I want to hear your take on this, and what you think of the play and where the puck's going.
This is a phenomenal article by Tim Ingram of Rolling Stone, kind of showcasing what's going on with Amazon in regards to their pivot and really highlighting their play on podcasting and getting rights for podcasting. So other segments that we talked about are music licensing, buying publishing rights, buying catalogs from artists, and how valuable of an asset that is. But this is a completely different play to just focus primarily on the podcast world, which obviously we're part of. And we know it's something that we're, is near and dear to our hearts. That's why we launched this. But to see that this is essentially the focus for them, long play, is quite fascinating to see.
Yeah, it is interesting because this is the cross section of literally what we do: podcasting, one, music, two. So yeah, Amazon Music purchased Wondery, which is a podcast creation company, for $300 million. And what I thought was interesting is the article really mentioned opportunity cost. It's like by buying Wondery, they had foregone the opportunity to buy Taylor Swift's whole catalog, for example.
Or Bob Dylan, right?
Or Bob Dylan, So they could have, and again, they're flush with cash. I mean, they could do anything. But clearly they think the puck is going in terms of podcasting and commentary and whatnot. In fact, I think it said like 22% of all Spotify listeners, this is in the article, listen to podcasts. So out of all, it's 70 million people subscribers from Spotify, all listen to podcasts, which is obviously on the rise. So it just shows you attention is being pulled. We say this almost every week. Attention is being pulled in every direction. So they're doubling down on it, which is interesting because Spotify just did the same thing with Rogan and Anchor.
It talks about the TV world a little bit too, which I know we all pay some attention to. Maybe not to the level of the music world, but streaming services that have like owned The Office and owned Seinfeld and owned some of those Friends, owned some of those sitcoms over the years that are nightlights for people. They put them on late at night or when they want to unwind during the day and they want to have something on the TV while they're scrolling through their Instagram, right? This is Amazon saying you're going to listen to talk more than you're going to listen to music. We think this is where things are going. And the numbers kind of bear that out. Like music streaming has not necessarily gone down it didn't go down in 2020 because of the way the world was, but it was headed in the down direction before that. And spoken word podcast stuff was headed in the upward trend. So it makes sense. It's interesting that they wouldn't also just buy Taylor Swift's catalog.
Exactly. I was gonna say they have the deep pockets. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that interests me is where the hell is Apple on this stuff? I'm so confused. Apple had the like Skype, no offense, Skype, which we used to use, and in favor of Zoom. They had a lead. They had the podcast game on wrap at the beginning, and now they're like, yeah, we don't really care. I mean, the majority of our listens, I think it's about half of our spins, come from Apple still, but they don't seem to be making too much of a play here. And I have Apple Music and I like it, but Spotify's better. It's a better platform as far as the usage and the for you stuff. And I just think they do a better job with that. I don't understand. Apple has deep pockets. What the hell are they?
Yeah, I think you kind of answered your own question in a lot of ways, though, because you said Spotify is better than Apple Music. And I subscribed to Apple Music for the free trial or whatever. And iTunes was a thing, but it didn't really play out, long term. So I think maybe they're just spread so thin. They're like, we know what we're good at. It's, physical goods, the services to an extent, but maybe not. I don't know.
But they have Apple TV.
Well, they have Apple Music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just confused by they started a TV streaming service, which has been hit or miss depending on who you talk to, compared to Netflix and compared to Hulu. Why not throw you already had a lead in the podcast game? Why not throw your weight around there? I didn't understand that.
Are there any Apple exclusive podcasts? I don't even know.
I don't think there are. I mean, everybody's on there, but yeah.
You're right. They were up in the third period and just decided to pull their goalie when it should be the other way around. If you're down, you pull the goalie.
The funny thing is they're still up. I still think they're the leader as far as people, the usage of podcasts and how people consume them currently. Now, the way things are going, Amazon's trying to make a play. Spotify clearly has made a play, bringing Rogan in exclusively. It's and other things too. I think I read that in that article, 800 million over the last 2 years they've spent on podcast stuff. So they're trying to chip away at that, and doing stuff like this will do that. But I don't understand why they're willing to cede that, where that's where we see the puck is going. Bezos isn't usually wrong.
I have a take, which is Apple has some of the smartest brains in the planet, and maybe they're the ones that are right. They've probably done all the actuarial science on Rogan for 100 million and say, you know what? It's cool. It would be great to have him on our platform, but we ain't getting that back. We'll never see a dime from that. We'll never recoup that. So maybe this is just Apple being Apple. And again, opportunity cost of cash. We'll put our cash out the door somewhere else because they have plenty of cash. Look that up. I've mentioned this in another episode. Go look up Apple's surplus of cash on the sideline. But that's probably what it is. They probably put pen to paper and said, you know what? This is we'll focus on hardware.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. They could also be letting the Spotify deal, this is for Joe Rogan, run its course, and then one up it with some kind of surplus deal that's all inclusive and bigger, better, badder. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To one up that, or maybe who knows? Maybe Apple will just straight up buy Spotify. You could see that too. Man. Some kind of
monopoly
merger there. I mean, yeah, it's already going in that direction, right? But after reading this article, based on the attention to the podcast world and, like you said, where the puck's going, it makes me think of the way I'm accessing podcasts and utilizing my time driving, whatever. I'm doing a lot of podcasts, and a lot of it's because I want something that's extremely relevant, like in the moment. So I'll even miss some episodes. I'm going to refer Joe Rogan again, and it's like, oh shoot, I really should listen to those other three, but this one came out today, so I'm going to listen to this one. So it's like real time. The music thing, I think it's timeless. It's been replayed forever, and I think it'll always have legs. But where the puck is going is like real time change, what's going on today, and so maybe these reruns will be that next cash grab.
That makes complete sense to me, and I think we're similar in our podcast consumption. So I think we do a podcast where you could come back to us. Obviously, we're going to have some moments where we talk about things in the moment, but if you listen to an interview or you listen to us talking about bands from 20 years ago, like that can hold, right? That can stay on the shelf for a little bit and you can come back to it. Rogan is similar. He'll have an interview, unless it's something very prescient in the moment. He'll have an interview with a scientist about just whatever. And I can listen to that today. I can listen to that 3 weeks from now and get the same value from that. The day-to-day content stuff, you listen to somebody like Bill Simmons who talks NBA, that podcast he put out today on the NBA is irrelevant in 3 weeks. But he's huge because people want to listen to what he has to say in the moment, or his NFL thoughts that change week to week, right? Everything's new. Any news podcast, same thing, news talk podcast. So
right, the ones you come back to with the interviews with him.
Right.
For me, those are the only ones I come back to.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to listen to it in the moment. You can save it. He's going to talk to John David Washington about being a movie star. Okay, I can listen to that 3 months from now. I don't need to listen to that today because nothing's going to stuff might change, but not much.
Yeah, but there's so much coming out in real time that even those interviews a lot of the times will reflect what's going on within that 3 or 4 day span.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yep.
So it makes you want to catch it then.
I'm not dissing your boy Rogan, Nate. Relax.
You know what the other kind of side effect or externality or whatever of all this is? And the article hinted at this, but when these companies, the DSPs, when it comes time to re-up licensing, now they have the leverage. They can say, hey, Sony or whoever, Sony, your artists, they're not getting spun, so we're not paying the premium that we were paying because the attention split.
Dude, you're absolutely right, and they're doing this to make that cheaper for them.
Exactly.
Man, nefarious as hell.
And that could be it. And the other thing to kind of double down on that is the label's bread and butter now is all that. It's licensing. It's not selling the CDs. Again, this doubles down on the fact that in 10 years, labels are fucking gone. Well, maybe 20.
Yeah. You're right. It's
Yeah.
headed that. It's headed
Podioslave
that route.
predictions, 2040.
When our kids are listening to, hey, remember when our dads did a podcast in their early to mid 30s? Let's listen to that right now and make fun of their predictions. Oh wait, they were right on everything.
Oh man, good point, Juan. I mean, thinking of it in kind of a different lens is the music. Let's say 2040. It's going to be so futuristic that maybe like a Led Zeppelin song will sound so antique that it just won't be relevant enough to even spin. So goes into that, I don't know, money. The value of that song is just it doesn't hold because it just doesn't reflect anything that's even remotely going on right now, which sucks because it's timeless music, but it's a different age group, right? We're kind of clinging on to like the old stuff and the new stuff to an extent, but we're still kind of recycling what was good. And I was thinking about this when I was driving today. Like, I think this is a bold statement, but I feel like music has kind of run its course in terms of like what you can do for the most part. I mean, there's certain things that haven't been done yet, but they're usually just different, songs that haven't been written lyrically. But in terms of like how you write music, I think it's all kind of been done. I mean, it's just like a lot of things, like you can only make it so good, and eventually it's just going to be, autonomous or whatever. But music's an art form, and how many ways can you paint it? You can probably add some things, but I think the formula has been kind of run its course from the Beatles to present.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I guess the one thing kind of similarly in this vein for
Yeah.
me is we're going to come back to an album we love, right? And if it's something that we're really into, we're going to listen to it multiple times over the course of years. Am I going to re-listen to a Rogan interview? No, I've already listened to it. It's done. It's out. See ya. Same thing with the Simmons interview. Same thing with whoever. Same thing with this day in history. I'm not listening to that again if I've already heard it. So this is where I think the disconnect kind of is as far as the money goes. Like, if you've got 300 million, do I want Wondery stuff? Yes, if they're cutting edge and they're going to continue to do things and make new things over that course of time. Or do I want Taylor Swift's catalog where people are just going to come back to that for years? I think I want Taylor Swift's catalog.
I have so many thoughts going through my head right now. Like,
There's a million.
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna probably butcher what's going on in my head right now, but I almost think we're gonna see a return to almost an MP3 to an MP3 player type of relationship with the way people listen to music. And what I mean by that is,
Okay.
artists are gonna get so fed up for getting the slivers of pennies, and their contracts with labels are finally going to run out. They're going to fulfill the deal, and they're going to go to a music OnlyFans model where I'm going to go to Foo Fighters OnlyFans equivalent. I'm going to download their music, and then there's just going to be a player. There's going to be an app that you're going to download, just going to be a player, just like it was back in the day, a Winamp.
It really kicks the llama's ass.
It really...
Is that a callback to the first episode?
I think it is. I think you're going to see something like that. I think the whole industry is going to be flipped on its head where you're going to have basically a digital CD booklet.
I agree with you. You're skipping a step. Do you know what I mean?
Which one? Which step? No, you got me curious.
Where these big artists become Spotify exclusives or Apple Music exclusives, which already kind of happens for a short amount of time, but where, say, Amazon had bought Taylor Swift's catalog. Okay, we have Taylor Swift's music. You can't get it anywhere else. That's going to happen. Not necessarily with her, but just generally speaking. Instead of signing with a label, they're going to make music on their own. And then one of these DSPs that has the money to do it is going to offer them a huge chunk of cash, a la Joe Rogan, to have them be exclusively on their DSP for a while. And then it turns into what you said. They're all going to say, why are we letting you reap the benefit of us? We could be making more if we were subscription on our own, OnlyFans style. So, yeah, I think that's the progression.
I think it'd have to be a certain level of artist for that.
Yeah, agreed.
Wasn't that what Tidal was supposed to be?
Kind of, yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
They kind of prided themselves on paying the most.
And sound.
And, yeah, like Kanye, wasn't he exclusive to Tidal?
I started the free trial. Yeah, I started the free trial so I could listen to Life of Pablo.
There
And
you
then
go.
it wouldn't drop. 4 days went by and I'm like, where the fuck is Life of Pablo? They want me to pay. That's why this is happening. They're hoping a week goes by and my free trial runs out and I'm going to pay for a month to listen to Life of Pablo.
I think your thoughts, Twan, have legs because I don't know if you read the article or even just the language of the COVID relief bill. They made illegal streaming a felony, right? So I was thinking the flip side of these exclusive partners to buy it, like you said, OnlyFans style Foo Fighters. Well, then the pirate Bay, right? You just get that on that. But if it becomes a felony to stream it that way, then obviously you're gonna lose some excitement doing it on the flip side. So I could
I
see
haven't
that
heard
being the case.
I haven't heard the Pirate Bay in years. Thank you for bringing me back to '05. I did a lot of downloading Howard Stern's show when he switched over to Sirius in '06
Oh,
the
there you
day
go.
after and listening to those illegally.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Tony, I remember those days vividly because I remember you having so much music,
I had a lot of music.
and then you almost getting a little paranoid, and that's when you started buying vinyl like crazy, almost to like make up for it.
I have
You're like,
I have gone to church. I have done my my penance for all of the music that I may or may not have procured.
Allegedly.
And now I've paid for all of it. I own it all in some form, and I paid for it.
I believe it.
So the great thing about an article like this is like we can revisit this in a year from now
Totally.
and see how it worked out, you know? Because me personally, I'm not going to go on Amazon to listen to a podcast.
No, I haven't even really done it on Spotify very often. I will with Rogan, but he hasn't had anybody since the switch that I've been like, I need to listen to that.